Hello, this is Jennifer Hannon and we are going to talk about Unit 7 of the Access course regarding the human digestive system. And our objectives today are to go through the structure and the function of each of the organs within the digestive system. We're going to talk about chemical and manual digestion. We are going to explain the 7 requirements of a balanced diet and a description of the effects of a dietary imbalance and recommendations on a healthy, good diet. So the digestive system, it is made up of the mouth, the pharynx, the esophagus, the stomach, the liver, the pancreas, the gallbladder, the large intestine, the small intestine, and the anus. And it takes food that we consume and it breaks it down in the mouth, and then it can be absorbed by the body. So all the nutrients and the vitamins are then able to be absorbed and we can utilize them for energy and just optimum health. It runs from the mouth to the anus and it's about 8 to 10 meters in length. And that is a quick summary of the organs that are involved within the digestive system. So the mouth is the start of the digestive system and includes the tongue and the teeth, which then chews the food. So mastication is the process of chewing, and then that is the mechanical process of digestion. Chemical digestion is done as the enzymes within the saliva break down the food, which the tongue rolls into a bolus. And then it is passed down the pharynx to the esophagus. So the food is then swallowed and delivered to the pharynx. The pharynx then delivers it to the esophagus after it's done its chemical digestion within the pharynx. The esophagus is the passage from the pharynx into the stomach. And now the esophagus contracts, which is known as peristalsis, and this is part of manual digestion. And lubrication from the saliva continues to digest the bolus that has been swallowed and passed into the esophagus, which is now going into the liver. So the liver provides chemical digestion only by this stage, producing bile, which contains water, salts, pigment. It contains bilirubin and cholesterol, which breaks down fats. And the gallbladder stores this bile that has been made by the liver, and it is ready to be used by the stomach when needed. So no form of digestion actually occurs at this stage. So that food bolus then enters into the stomach and it is mixed with acidic liquid within the stomach, known as gastric juice. It's then manual digestion then occurs as the stomach contracts, and then chemical digestion occurs as it churns the food and it contracts, turning the juices into a substance called chyme. So now in the pancreas, the chemical digestion occurs and it takes the food and it breaks down those food molecules into proteins, fats and carbohydrates, into starches, and the pancreas regulates the sugar in the body. So no manual digestion occurs here, only chemical. That chyme that was created in the stomach is then taken into the small intestine, which is about 6 to 7 meters long, and this is responsible for the absorption of the nutrients taken from the food molecules. And manual digestion occurs as peristaltic contractions mix that chyme, so manual digestion, and then chemical digestion, enzymes produce here, and the pancreas are broken down into absorbable molecules. All those nutrients are then ready to be absorbed into the walls of the intestines, into the body. Then the largest intestine, which is 1.5 meters wide, is responsible for the absorption of vitamins, and manual digestion mixes all the leftover food, takes out all the waste and the leftover that's not required, and it's turned into feces, which is then ready to exit the body. The rectum is where all the waste is stored and ready to exit the body. The mechanical digestion part, chemical digestion occurs when the absorption of any leftover water or electrolytes occur. So we're just going to go through the manual and chemical digestion parts of the digestive system. So the digestion begins in the mouth, and that's where the food is, mastification occurs when it's chewing and it breaks down by the teeth, and then the tongue aids that by rolling the food into a bolus. When the food churns by the stomach lining, squeezing the food, that's also part of manual digestion. Peristalsis is the physical contraction of the muscles which moves the food through the process. Chemical digestion happens throughout the whole digestive system, and this breaks down large macronutrient food molecules using enzymes, and different enzymes react differently with a variety of molecules. Enzymes can speed up the process of digestion. Now we're going to look at the different kinds of enzymes that are involved with the process of digestion, and they play a vital role in the process of digestion. They are formed of proteins and speed the reactions that occur in the body. Enzymes break down food into molecules which is easier to absorb in the body. So the process of breaking down food in the body would not occur fast enough without the enzyme. Amylase is responsible for breaking down of carbohydrates into smaller sugars, and it's located in areas such as the mouth, pancreas, small intestine. Salivary amylase is the first step in the digestion. It's located within the mouth. And the enzymes that are responsible for breaking down of proteins are protease, and these are located in the stomach, pancreas and small intestine. Protease mixes with proteins already broken down into amino acids to then be absorbed and used by the body. And then you've got lipase, which breaks down lipids located in areas such as pancreas and the small intestine. And these digest fats into smaller fatty acid pieces. Enzymes are responsible for chemical digestion, and manual digestion comes from where the body is aiding by contracting and pushing through, opening the esophagus in order for the food to go down. And then this is all taken to the small intestine and then absorb the nutrients which is necessary for the body's functions. It's absorbed by the cells to provide all the body's functions. An enzyme will bind with a particular substrate, which then accelerates chemical reactions. Substrates like starches and polysaccharides bind to the enzyme active site, forming an enzyme substrate complex, which then undergoes a reaction to form the product, in this case a carbohydrate. The substrate's role is crucial in metabolic processes like digestion, as it determines the enzyme's activity and specificity. So in order for an enzyme to work efficiently, the body has to be at 37 degrees Celsius, and anything below this will create a very slow reaction, a very slow chemical reaction. And this also applies to the pH of the body. So 7 is neutral, and the enzymes can work effectively at a level between 5 and 9 pH. Now we are going to go through the stomach and the histology of the stomach, the duodenum and ileum, and the main functions of the liver relating to digestion. Now, the stomach, what is histology? Histology is the study of microscopic anatomy of biological tissue. The tissue is sliced and then examined through a microscope. The stomach is made up of 4 layers. So the first layer of the stomach is the mucosa, and that is the inner lining of the stomach. And when the mucosa contracts, gastric glands within discharge gastric fluid used to digest the food contained within the stomach. And then we've got the submucosa, which is the thick connective tissue joining the mucosa to the muscle below. Then we've got the muscularis externa, 3 layers, which is the inner obliques, the middle circular and the outer longitudinal. So these 3 layers within the muscularis externa, they form in different directions and contract to aid with the functions of the stomach, such as churning and digestion of food. And then we've got the serosa, which is the outside lining of the stomach, reducing friction and protects the stomach as it moves within the body. The duodenum is the next part, and that is the first part of the small intestine, and it provides the initial absorption. And pili circularis, which are circular folds, wrap around the duodenum to provide a wider surface area for absorption. The mucosa, the membrane lined with protrusions named villi and microvilli, aid in absorption, allowing for a wider surface. They are small protrusions that line the small intestines, and the epithelium makes up the surface of the intestinal tract. The submucosa, connective tissue with folds to form the pili circularis rings, and includes loose areolar connective tissue, providing connections of blood vessels, veins and nerves across the mucosa. Muscularis mucosae, similar to the stomach, consists of an inner layer of circular smooth muscle and an outer layer of longitudinal muscle fibres. The smooth muscle fibres pass into the core of the villus and offer movement to the mucosa. Just like the duodenum, the ileum within the small intestine aims to conclude the digestion process. The histology is, it commences the absorption process for single sugars, fatty and amino acids, and glycerol. The ileum joins directly to the large intestine and absorbs vitamins, unlike the duodenum. Mucosa, similar to the duodenum, kiss membrane lined with villi and microvilli. The submucosa, similar role to the duodenum, so they have connective tissue with folds forming the pili circularis rings from the intestines. The submucosa has more Peyer's patches than the duodenum, which are long, thick areas in the epithelium. These patches can reach a few centimetres long and fight against antigens which may be harmful to the body. Muscularis interna and externa contain inner circular smooth muscle and outer longitudinal muscle fibres. Serosa lines the outside of the ileum and protects from friction. The liver, which is the second largest organ, and that performs essential functions for the digestive system to occur. It stores simple sugars to build carbohydrates when needed. The liver produces bile, aiding fat and oil digestion and nutrient absorption, which is then stored in the gallbladder and transported through the bile duct into the body. When the food passes through the stomach, it is acidic, so the bile that the liver makes neutralises that so it doesn't harm the body. And it neutralises it so the enzymes can work faster, spoke about earlier, and that is then moved to the small intestine. Fat that passes through the liver is softened and broken down by the bile to ensure the lipase enzymes can be better absorbed. So it's really important that the body gets the nutrients and the vitamins that it requires for cell production, immune function, to just have energy for movement, and all this can be absorbed from food and eating a balanced diet, which will provide the body with the nutrients that it needs. It's recommended 7 requirements that the body needs for a balanced diet, and that is proteins, fibre, minerals, carbs, fats, vitamins and water. Now, proteins are the building blocks of the body's cells and aid in growth and repair of the tissues. Every cell in the body is formed from proteins. Proteins are made of amino acids, which are also an essential requirement for the body, and proteins can be used as energy source when insufficient calories are consumed. Fibre helps the body with digestion and helps create good colon health. It lowers cholesterol and improves blood sugars. It can also help to control weight and lower the risk of type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Minerals are inorganic compounds found in nature that the body needs for bone health, muscle function, nerve function and other essential processes. So carbs are macronutrient, they're a source of energy for the body. Carbs are broken down into glucose within the body and used for respiration. When glucose comes into contact with oxygen, it releases energy to the body. And good sources of carbs are sugar, starch and fibre. Fats are present in living organisms as fatty acid, and some of the major roles fats play in the body are regulating body temperature, nerve function, energy storage and vitamin absorption. Vitamins are organic compounds found in a variety of foods that support the function of things such as skin cell production and regulating minerals in the body. Now, without water, the body would not be able to survive more than 3 days. Water supports most functions of the body. It cannot be stored like most nutrients in the body. Therefore, it is an essential requirement of everyday diet. And here we have got some examples. So we've got carbs, which are a source of energy, rice and pasta. For proteins, fish, eggs and meat. Fats, we've got nuts, butter and oils. And vitamins, we've got a variety of vegetables. Minerals, fruit, veg and dairy. And fibre, again, fruit and vegetables, whole grains. And water we can get from water itself, fruit and vegetables. So there can be many health implications if we don't get the required vitamins, minerals, and it can lead to, or we can get this from overconsumption of a particular nutrient, and it can often lead to diseases. A deficiency is where we are lacking the vital nutrients, vitamins and minerals, and an excess of nutrients such as sugars and fats can then lead to obesity, leading to other health conditions like heart disease and diabetes. So some common deficiency diseases from lack of consumption is iron deficiency, anemia. So the symptoms of that is tiredness, general weakness, weakened immune system, impaired brain function. Calcium deficiency, that will give us weak bones. Vitamin D, impaired immune function, and vitamin A can cause blindness. Lacking in vital nutrients and vitamins, minerals, it can have a vital impact on our body. So everybody's individual needs, depending on how much they are active, what their weight is. So just individual needs from their specific diet needs. It can look different from person to person, but it's recommended that an adult should consume 10 to 35% of protein from their diet. Fats is 20 to 35% of their complete diet, and carbohydrates that you're looking at 45 to 65%. Within that fat percentage, you should be containing less than 10% from saturated fat, and from trans fat it should be less than 1% of that total fat consumption. So other diet recommendations are that adults should not consume more than 6 grams of salt per day in their diet, and that's including salt already in our food and not the salt that we add to our food. This helps prevent hypertension, which is high blood pressure, reducing the risk of heart disease and strokes. And limiting certain foods containing high cholesterol can reduce heart disease. Recommend eating less processed foods and meat, like sausages and fatty meat, as well as baked goods like cakes and biscuits, so they're not a good source of carbohydrates, and which contain butter, and they should consume more fruit and vegetables, oily fish, whole grains and nuts. These types of food combined with regular physical exercise will have a good chance of keeping cholesterol low. So as well as keeping down salt and that's added into food, so low salt foods, it's also recommended by Diabetes UK by reducing foods which are containing added sugar to lower the chances of diabetes, leading to healthier heart and kidney by limiting sugary drinks and alcohol and choosing unsweetened options alongside eating more fruit and vegetables. So fruit and vegetables will fill us up longer, so we won't feel like we need to be consuming sugar, and that can lead to less cancer. Small measures like portion control is a great way to combat obesity. Eating too much of recommended foods like fruit can even lead to weight gain, because you need to be consuming less than you are burning in order to lose weight. It's a great way to start. So hydration is also important for bodily function and maintaining health. Swapping out sugary drinks for water supports bodily functions and keep you full and suppress your appetite in order to help manage weight and reduce obesity. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation.